What sets AIR2 and AIR3 apart in UPSC CSE 2024? They didn't wait to feel ready. They started smart with the GS Foundation course at Vision IS Delhi. Structured learning, focused current affairs, real mentorship, test feedback that actually helps you grow. This course isn't just about study hours, it's about direction, clarity and the strategy toppers trust. Start strong. Start where toppers started.
UPSC preparation is not just about reading books or watching online lectures. It requires personal guidance, real discussions, and structured practice. This is where offline mentoring makes all the difference. Unlike online learning, where doubts often remain unresolved, offline mentoring offers direct interaction, real-time feedback, and an environment of discipline and competition. One-to-one sessions help students get tailored advice, strategy corrections, and focused improvement. Every aspirant has different strengths and weaknesses. Personal mentoring helps address them effectively. Ground discussions sharpen analytical thinking and help students develop a multi-dimensional perspective on issues crucial for prelims, mains, and interview. Elocution sessions help in personality development, clarity of thought, and confidence, essential for UPSC interviews. Test writing is the most crucial part of UPSC preparation. It helps in time management, structuring answers, and improving content quality. Offline mentoring is not just about teaching. It's about grooming future officers with the right guidance, discipline, and confidence. So if you are preparing for UPSC, make sure you have the right mentor by your side.
Are you still juggling newspapers, random notes, and endless PDFs trying to make sense of current affairs? Let's make your UPSC prep smarter. Introducing Digital Current Affairs Premium by Vision IAS, your all-in-one platform to read, revise, and write better every single day. Have a doubt from today's news or something in your syllabus? Just ask and get instant AI-powered answers that are concise, relevant, and completely aligned with the UPSC exam pattern. No more guesswork, no more confusion. Want to boost your mains writing skills? Practice daily with structured questions and get expert feedback to sharpen your content, clarity, and analysis, because writing well is winning half the battle. Need better revision? Use quick notes and highlights to save key points, mark important lines, and organize your current affairs in a way that actually works for you. And here's the best part, some of the most powerful tools are absolutely free. Daily news summaries from The Hindu, Indian Express, and more, curated, filtered, and exam ready. Downloadable PDFs so your notes stay organized and accessible. Daily quizzes and MCQs to reinforce what you've learned and track your progress. A smart student dashboard to monitor your performance and stay on top of your goals. Whether you're just starting or deep into your prep, Digital Current Affairs Premium adapts to your strategy and makes every minute count. So why prepare the hard way when you can prepare the smart way? Visit www.visionis.in/current-affairs and start transforming your current affairs prep today. Because with Vision IAS, you don't just stay updated, you stay ahead. UPSC CSE 2024 results are out and dreams have turned into ranks. Now you are asking, how do I get there? You've got the drive. What you need is the right guidance. Lakshya Integrated Mentoring Program 2026 by Vision IAS is your one-stop guidance program for prelims, mains, and interview. Smart, strategic revision for prelims and mains. Consistent mentorship with personalized feedback. Daily weekly schedule and practice targets. Custom test practice via Sandhan test series. Interview and personality test training. All of it structured to guide you, strategic to keep you focused, and designed to meet your evolving needs. New batch starts from 19th May. It's your turn now. Start strong with Lakshya Mentoring Program 2026.
What sets AIR2 and AIR3 apart in UPSC CSE 2024? They didn't wait to feel ready. They started smart with the GS Foundation course at Vision IAS Delhi. Structured learning, focused current affairs, real mentorship, test feedback that actually helps you grow. This course isn't just about study hours, it's about direction, clarity, and the strategy toppers trust. Start strong. Start where toppers started.
UPSC preparation is not just about reading books or watching online lectures. It requires personal guidance, real discussions, and structured practice. This is where offline mentoring makes all the difference. Unlike online learning, where doubts often remain unresolved, offline mentoring offers direct interaction, real-time feedback, and an environment of discipline and competition. One-to-one sessions help students get tailored advice, strategy corrections, and focused improvement. Every aspirant has different strengths and weaknesses. Personal mentoring helps address them effectively. Ground discussions sharpen analytical thinking and help students develop a multi-dimensional perspective on issues crucial for prelims, mains, and interview. Elocution sessions help in personality development, clarity of thought, and confidence, essential for UPSC interviews. Test writing is the most crucial part of UPSC preparation. It helps in time management, structuring answers, and improving content quality. Offline mentoring is not just about teaching. It's about grooming future officers with the right guidance, discipline, and confidence. So if you are preparing for UPSC, make sure you have the right mentor by your side.
Are you still juggling newspapers, random notes, and endless PDFs trying to make sense of current affairs? Let's make your UPSC prep smarter. Introducing Digital Current Affairs Premium by Vision IAS, your all-in-one platform to read, revise, and write better every single day. Have a doubt from today's news or something in your syllabus? Just ask and get instant AI-powered answers that are concise, relevant, and completely aligned with the UPSC exam pattern. No more guesswork, no more confusion. Want to boost your mains writing skills? Practice daily with structured questions and get expert feedback to sharpen your content, clarity, and analysis, because writing well is winning half the battle. Need better revision? Use quick notes and highlights to save key points, mark important lines, and organize your current affairs in a way that actually works for you. And here's the best part, some of the most powerful tools are absolutely free. Daily news summaries from The Hindu, Indian Express, and more, curated, filtered, and exam ready. Downloadable PDFs so your notes stay organized and accessible. Daily quizzes and MCQs to reinforce what you've learned and track your progress. A smart student dashboard to monitor your performance and stay on top of your goals. Whether you're just starting or deep into your prep, Digital Current Affairs Premium adapts to your strategy and makes every minute count. So why prepare the hard way when you can prepare the smart way? Visit www.visionis.in/current-affairs and start transforming your current affairs prep today. Because with Vision IAS, you don't just stay updated, you stay ahead. UPSC CSE 2024 results are out and dreams have turned into ranks. Now you are asking, how do I get there? You've got the drive. What you need is the right guidance. Lakshya Integrated Mentoring Program 2026 by Vision IAS is your one-stop guidance program for prelims, mains, and interview. Smart, strategic revision for prelims and mains. Consistent mentorship with personalized feedback. Daily weekly schedule and practice targets. Custom test practice via Sandhan test series. interview and personality test training. All of it structured to guide you, strategic to keep you focused, and designed to meet your evolving needs. New batch starts from 19th May. It's your turn now. Start strong with Lakshya Mentoring Program 2026.
What sets AIR2 and AIR3 apart in UPSC CSE 2024? They didn't wait to feel ready. They started smart with the GS Foundation course at Vision IS Delhi. Structured learning, focused current affairs, real mentorship, test feedback that actually helps you grow. This course isn't just about study hours, it's about direction, clarity, and the strategy toppers trust. Start strong. Start where toppers started.
UPSC preparation is not just about reading books or watching online.
So good afternoon everyone. So this session is about basically a test series that is being launched, right? And this test series is like a unique, product from the side of Vision IS, whereby all the toppers, they focus upon the previous year questions, right? But we usually get dependent on ourselves only to write down the previous year questions, and there is no one to evaluate the previous year questions, right? So therefore, from that particular perspective, this test series is being launched, whereby the focus will be basically primarily on the previous year question. That is 90% of the questions, they will be the previous year questions. However, 10% of the questions, they will be dynamic in nature, right? Because there are subjects like GS2 and GS3 where the current affairs component is also there, right? But that will also be very, very mind-based, very mindful, right? So, for example, what is inside this particular program? You will have what you call as comprehensive test format, previous year questions, 90% as I told you, 10% to cater to the current affairs things. We'll give you examples also, किस तरीके से क्या हो सकता है. Overall number of tests will be 12, 8 sectional tests will be there, 2 each in GS1 to GS3, 4, right? So therefore, ऐसा. And full coverage will be there in the form of full length test as well, right? So therefore 4 full length tests will be there, right? Current affairs interlinkage will be especially focused upon, right? So therefore, for example, if there are certain current affairs which are coming, right, then which are the questions which relate to those current affairs. So specifically the new questions, the dynamic ones, that 10% or 20% ones, right, they will be clearly highlighting, therefore clearly highlighting their basis in the current affairs, right? So therefore एक वो आपको फायदा होगा. Model answers they will be uploaded, right, with current developments to ensure present day relevance. ठीक है, तो उसमें ये सब देखेंगे. उसके अलावा क्या है? Apart from this, the model answers, they will not be random model answers, right? But you know, they will try to obviously they will try to limit to the word limit, right, with proper headings, proper subheadings, so that student is able to benefit, right? Apart from this, you know, many other things are there like value addition material, right? Test schedule is flexible. That is, you cannot prepone a test, but once a test date comes, let's say 22nd of June, right? So therefore, until what you call as a week before the UPSC mains exam, at any point of time, you can give that particular test, right? So therefore, accordingly, your ranks, etc., they will get updated, right? After the test, there will be proper test discussion, right, by the Vision IS faculty. And if any student has particular subjective kind of a doubt that what about my answer? How can my answer become the topper answer? Or how can my answer be a relatively better answer? So that hand holding will also be available to each and every student, right? That is how your answer, it can be improved, right? So aisa. And that can also be in the form of detailed feedback which will be given on your answer copy, and second aspect will be one-to-one mentorship also, right? So therefore that kind of handholding will be there, right? If you see that this is the performance of the toppers and their performance in our test series, right? So for example, glimpse of UPSC 2024 toppers, means experience perfected with Vision IS, innovative assessment system क्या है, coherence between UPSC marks and Vision IS test marks, let's say GS paper 1. So Ashi Sharma, who is all India rank 12, so therefore her marks in Vision 104, in actual UPSC 97. Venkatesh 104, 98, 103, 106, Trilok Singh, all India rank 20, and similarly on rank 24, 107, 112, right? So therefore very high correlation is there. That means if you are able to score very, very well in what you call as this particular test series, then it is kind of like ensured that your actual performance will be very, very similar. Okay. Similarly, same kind of correlation you can see in GS paper 2 as well as GS paper 3, okay, among the top rankers. Similarly, it is not just a coincidence, same thing happened in 2023 also. On the left hand side you have what you call as vision marks, on the right hand side you have actual marks, already rank 1, 2, 12, 13, 24, 31, 39, 44, right? Continuing this, for example, in GS paper number 2, 2023, same kind of pattern that you notice, right? These are different kind of exam. For example, these are Abhyas exam, right, which is conducted by Vision IS and the actual UPSC. So very high correlation it is there. That's just a proof that you know what kind of quality will be delivered, right? Which are the common challenges in mains preparation? Why most of the aspirants they struggle despite doing a lot of hard work? Certain problems are there. For example, information overload without integration, right? So therefore you are studying from multiple sources, multiplicity of sources, right? So therefore if that is the reason behind your answer which is not able to fetch the best marks, so accordingly in the one-to-one mentoring session or in the faculty session, so therefore those things they can be clarified that which sources that you should limit yourselves to, right? So therefore that kind of feedback will be available to you. Apart from this, lack of thematic focus is there. That is, you are not able to perfect a particular theme. For example, we'll give you examples. Let's say a theme of secularism, it is there. We have picked up that particular theme, right? So we'll notice that UPSC asks very same kind of questions in different words, or questions which are related to that particular theme of secularism. But because the student does not go through what you call as continuous 10 questions, 20 questions on that particular theme. So therefore the student has not perfected that particular theme which are recurrent in the UPSC, right? And therefore what happens with the UPSC aspirant that you're studying a lot, but statistical analysis is not available to the student that which particular topics are more weightage topics and which particular topics are less weightage topics compared to the pattern which is established by the UPSC. Right. So therefore, we will attempt to basically decodify these themes which are there, and accordingly we'll try to group together the previous year questions in the form of a test series so that the student is able to perfect all aspects of that particular theme. Right. So ये एक focus रहेगा. Lack of clarity on answer writing. Many of the times the student has the knowledge but is not able to either understand the demand of the question or not able to limit himself or herself into the word limit. Let's say take this example, right? GS3 question 2018. Assess the role of National Horticulture Mission in boosting the production, productivity and income of horticulture farms. How far has it succeeded in increasing the income of the farmers? So therefore, first of all, students, they do not follow balance. Clearly, it is basically two questions merged into one, right? No extra brains are required. But in the rush to just start writing, we realize by the time we are about to, end our, answer that, okay, 70% of the space or the 80% of space we have covered in the first question only, and only 20% of the space is available for the second question. Right. So therefore, these kind of things will be these micro things will also be a focus, right, in one-to-one mentoring sessions and the feedback which will be given. Second, with respect to demand of the question, here what is there? How far has it succeeded? Many of the students, what they will do, they'll simply highlight how it has succeeded, and they will not focus upon what you call as that. What are the negatives? What are the pitfalls? Right. So therefore, in a way, overall, this is two questions, but the second question is divided further into two parts. That is, positives, how far it has been able to, and second, negatives, how far it has not been able to and what more can be done, right? And therefore, when you answer like this, the answer checker, right, he is able to gauge that, okay, your personality is also coming as a very comprehensive kind of balanced personality. This is actually how those who are already in the list, then they come in the top 10. For example, this time also it has happened that many IPS officers are there, right? So therefore, they are already in the list. That means they are already very good students. So therefore, what more specifically they can do that they can, come in the top 10, right? So knowledge to unka perfect hi hai nearly, because they are there in the list. So actually, the answers, how your knowledge is exactly coming out, that kind of thing you will be able to assess, right? And cutoffs be available hai aapke paas of all the, previous years. Right, so therefore you will be able to gauge that where exactly I am, if I had appeared in that particular attempt. Well, not exact, it is not the exact replica of that paper, but a rough idea to ho hi jayega, right? So therefore that is the thing, right? Time management, I've already told you that that's why what you should do is that you should always try to develop some kind of a flow chart. Right, that is before starting writing the answer, develop some kind of a flowchart structure of the answer, so that some skeletal, if not perfect, because you have to save time, you don't have much time, just give 30 seconds or 1 minute to ensure ki acha, this is my structure. So automatically some kind of monitoring it is established that, okay, my 1, 2 and then second question also divided in two parts. So accordingly I have to give 50% space to the first question and then 25%, and automatically you are very, very mindful ki bhai, ab I have to wrap up these points or number of points. If total I am going to have 10 points, accordingly I have to divide the points like this. 5 points for the first and then 2 points for one, 2 points for another and one conclusion. Right. So therefore accordingly एक मतलब focus रहना चाहिए. ठीक है ना? तो feedback is not available. Many of the times what happens is missing feedback loops hai. What is this? Actually I'll give you one small personal example. ठीक है? मतलब because it's very close to my heart. It was my third attempt, right? Second attempt actually, and I started writing answers. Right, second attempt. मैं first attempt में answer ऐसे लिखा था, ठीक है. Second attempt when I started writing answers of my optional paper, that is public administration and psychology, दोनों के अंदर ये चीज हुआ. एक में होता ना तो it would have been a coincidence. दोनों के अंदर ये चीज हुआ that when I was writing the first full length test, right? So for the first 5-7 full length test, my marks were very, very average kind of marks. Right, and I don't know, by the time I was writing my 14th, 15th test, I was getting marks out 200 out of 300. But the knowledge base was same, right? But the marks were increasing like anything. Uska cognitive reason bhi hai. Our pathways to encode, they are different, and pathways to decode the information and bring it out, they are different. Psychology was optional, बाद में मैंने optional, I applied the knowledge of the optional ki aisa hota kyun hai, right? So think of it like two roads, okay? So therefore when you are just revising, so therefore this road is very, very clear, very, very fast, right? But the second road which requires you to write, while writing you are stuck, right? That is, there is a jam. Why? Because you have not done enough writing practice, right? So वो actually scientific basis है उसका. And second, why the marks were improving? बड़ा मस्त चीज होता है. A, those questions where you got good marks, those topics they are automatically revised while writing the answer. And those topics where you did not get good marks, you are automatically getting a feedback that these are our topics which are ill prepared. And these are the topics which are from the mainstream themes, because the test series is designed in that particular manner, that those themes which are very recurrent kind of themes, right, uska aapko sab kuch ab de sako. So therefore student is able to do targeted revision. Otherwise in your later part of your first attempt or your second attempt, third attempt, right, then student does not have the time actually to revise whole books, right, and student does not know that exactly मैंने bookmark तो कर नहीं रखा that these are my 10 weak areas in this particular book ताकि मैं directly उन्हीं को ही पढ़ लूँ, और काफी बार पता भी नहीं होता, you do not know that which are your weak areas. It is actually through writing that you come to know, right, that which are your weak areas, and therefore accordingly you can revise only those portions better, right, and therefore test is telling you that in some topics you are here, in some other topics you are here, right, therefore you know where to fill the gap, and therefore very targeted kind of revision it can be done, right. Memory is also improving because when you write something, okay, so time management is also improving, so, right. So therefore that is actually what is happening. So with this test series you will be able to know what are the recurrent themes, what are the different weightages, right, plus clearly this focus will be there in the feedback. ये भी तो issues होता है ना, elaborate, critically examine, right, तो ये सब जो चीजें होती हैं, so therefore these kind of things you will also be able to get, right, so therefore that kind of focus will be there. Apart from this, focus on core recurring themes, as I told you, don't just cover syllabus but master what matters, right. जैसे take example of the topic of secularism, ठीक है, इसको हम देखते हैं थोड़ा सा. So in 2014 the question was, how do the Indian debates on secularism differ from the debates on the West, right. So that is the question. Now you notice the very same question but different wordings. 4 years later in 2018 UPSC asked how the Indian concept of secularism is different from the Western concept of secularism, right. So the question is nearly similar, just that the words are kind of like different, right, and this theme is getting repeated. Then in 2019 another question is asked on the same theme of secularism but associated. They're not asking you differentiate between Western secularism and Indian secularism. What they're asking you is, how do you achieve secularism? By taking pro-poor decisions, by making pro-poor laws, by making pro-poor schemes, right. What are the salient features of the National Food Security Act 2013? How has the Food Security Bill helped in eliminating hunger and malnutrition in India, right. So therefore this topic is related to secularism only. It is kind of like a sub part of that secularism. And second thing you focus here, that here they are not basically asking you to debate much. Here also your answer should be balanced. But in that question, how far? In that question it was how far it has succeeded, horticulture mission. तो उसमें तो क्या है, आपको clearly बता दिया 50% positive या 60% positive, 40% negative. इसमें they are not asking you to dispute that food security bill has not been able to achieve food security. So therefore here in the second question 80% will be tarif, praise, 20% will be the balance, right. So therefore these are the things about which you can become aware, right. Then in 2022 again 3 years later, are tolerance, assimilation and pluralism the key elements in making of an Indian form of secularism, right. माने कि first question was Indian and Western secularism compare करो, and this question is tell us about features of Indian secularism, right. So that is what is happening. Justify your answer. Then this time what we are also doing is that we will be sharing with students trend analysis, right. That is whatever Vision IS does at the back end, right, with respect to analyzing the trend of the different themes. So that thing also will be shared with the students, right, as far as possible it will be shared, right. For example अगर इसी में ही आप देखो तो GS1 में geography 38.4%, right, ये 10 year का trend है, right. So therefore student को clearly बताया जाएगा that which particular areas you should focus more and which particular areas you can relatively it's not about not preparing, तो not an option, right, but still इन subjects में जो major areas हैं वो prepare नहीं किया तो selection तो नहीं होने वाला फिर, right. So therefore history 31.2%, society, geography ऐसा तो roughly equal है. GS3 में अगर आप देखोगे तो GS3 में it is economy 33, major chunk it is there, and then you have second पे internal security and third पे science and technology. So these become the major themes, right. GS paper 2 में देखोगे तो GS paper 2 में क्या है, ईयर वाइज सब्जेक्ट वेटेज इन यूपीएससी GS2 पेपर, ब्लू इज 2019, 20, 21 ऐसा ऐसा करके, ठीक है. तो पॉलिटी देखो मैक्सिमम नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस कहाँ है, दिस इज ऑन पॉलिटी एंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. Then implementation of polity and that constitution in the form of good governance, that is at number 2, and these are all roughly equal only, right? So therefore from here you get to know that more number of questions will be PYQs pe hi hai, so obviously you will be getting more number of PYQs on that polity and constitution aspect. Then this issue which I told you earlier also, that is 80% or 90% of the question will be from the already asked previous year questions, right? But 10 or 20% of the questions will be what you call as innovative on the basis of the current affairs, right? So ye wahi cheez hai. Along with the actual UPSC question, the test series includes selected well-reasoned questions on contemporary themes. Jaise IR hai, it is very much dominated by current affairs, science and technology, environment, right? So therefore, majorly what is science and technology? Majorly it is about current affairs only. Environment, majorly it is about current affairs only, right? These are clearly marked as dynamic additions and are crafted to reflect UPSC styles. Example bhi hai kuch. For example, this is an example of 2022 question, and I'll share that how we are getting influenced by this. So 2022, India is an age-old friend of Sri Lanka. This is a statement. Question has not begun yet. Discuss India's role. Now question begins. Discuss India's role in the recent crisis in Sri Lanka in the light of the preceding statement. Right. So this preceding statement is nothing but that India-Sri Lanka friendship. So what India has done for Sri Lanka? Why the crisis? What is the crisis? Why the crisis? And then third major part of the question is that how India has fulfilled its friendship, which is age-old in nature. Right. So therefore, this is based on current affairs, right? Crisis happened in Sri Lanka, people came out on the streets, it was nearly civil war-like situation because of the economic issues. Now, how we get influenced from such questions? What kind of questions we'll be getting? For example, recently Bangladesh crisis has taken place and Operation Sindoor has been conducted. So let's say you'll get one such question, right? What is the strategic importance of Bangladesh for India? How does the recent thaw in relationship between Pakistan and Bangladesh impact India's security concerns and regional stability? Right. So therefore, strategic importance of Bangladesh, that links with the traditional aspect of creation of Bangladesh, right? That is when Bangladesh was created. So therefore, what was the strategic victory for India? The two fronts, oceanic fronts, territorial fronts, right? Plus when Bangladesh was East Pakistan, so therefore safe haven was provided to the insurgents in the northeast. Right, funding would be provided, weapons was provided, these kind of things they were provided when it was East Pakistan. So therefore, what were the strategic? So traditional topic is 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War, right? And usme jo result wala part hai, that what are the positives of creation of Bangladesh for India? Strategic positives. Now, if Bangladesh and Pakistan are very friendly with each other, so therefore it is nothing but East Pakistan again from the strategic perspective to India. Again, the two fronts are getting recreated, right? So therefore, you would have to focus on the recent thaw in the relationship between Pakistan and Bangladesh and its impact on India's security concerns. Security can be external security and domestic security, right? So therefore, दोनों के ऊपर focus आएगा. And regional stability, right? बड़ा मस्त है. Yesterday only, some days back only, a trilateral meeting has been held between China, Bangladesh and Pakistan, right? So see what China is trying to do. Trying to create two fronts again, right? So therefore, that this is how influenced by the current affairs, but rooted in the post-independence India topic of liberation of Bangladesh. Uska jo result wala part hai, this is how questions will be created. Okay, na? Then again in GS3 in 2023, introduced the concept of artificial intelligence. How does artificial intelligence help clinical diagnosis? Do you perceive any threat to privacy of individual in the use of AI in healthcare? This is 3 questions. How many words? 150 words, right? What is the nature of the question? Clearly बोला है, इसको ज़्यादा 33% नहीं करना है. कहाँ लिखा हुआ है इसमें that 33% नहीं करना है? 3 questions है ना? But I am saying that it is not 1/3. Please tell me how. Because of the word introduce. Very good. So introduce है. Introduction when you introduce yourself to someone, ठीक है ना? तो ऐसे नहीं कि अपनी पूरी राम कहानी बताने लग जाते हो. अरे जब मैं छोटा था, है ना? ऐसा थोड़ी होता है introduction, है ना? Introduction is like very basic kind of introduction, like definition level introduction, right? Surface level introduction, basic introduction, right? So therefore 5% or at max 10% will go to the first, and rest of the 45% will go to the rest of the 2 questions, right? And this is also obviously impacted by the current. Accordingly, what kind of questions you can get, that how we are trying to analyze this PYQ. We may ask, considering the acceleration of AI development, मतलब कि क्या हम क्या देख रहे हैं कि भाई in 2023 AI was just getting introduced, so UPSC asked something, but between 2023 and 2025 lot of developments have very rapid developments are taking place in the application part of the AI, right? So therefore maybe UPSC either in 2025 or in 2026, and already 2 साल तो हो ही चुके हैं, and we see that which become favorite themes of the UPSC, and which are the favorite themes of the UPSC. The favorite themes of the UPSC are basically those which impact your job profile, right? Or which impact the nation, that is masses, right? The economy of the nation, right? So AI has very rapid impacts on defense, right? AI based, some people are saying that India is working on development of or has already developed some kind of AI based what you call as air defense system, right? तो उसका defense में हर जगह application, right? तो considering the acceleration, that means you would have to focus on the changes and rapid changes in different sectors. Considering the acceleration of AI development marked by the Chinese AI model DeepSeek, right? तो मतलब कुछ हम relevant लेके आए current affairs का. Discuss India's position in the global AI race, right? So therefore, what are the इसमें क्या जाएगा? A, what is India doing with respect to AI? And second, what is China doing with respect to AI? But third, the question is not only on China and India, because the word global is also there, right? So therefore, when you write answer to these questions, so therefore, we will be focusing on these aspects. Ki all of these aspects are highlighted by the student or not, and then not just leaving the student कि अच्छा तुमने तीनों चीजें aspect highlight नहीं करा, 4 नंबर दे दिए, ऐसा नहीं, हैंड होल्डिंग रहेगा उसमें, फीडबैक रहेगा, ठीक है ना, कैसे इंप्रूव करेंगे. खैर, मॉडल आंसर्स and expert evaluation. तो so this is an example of model answer. ठीक है, तो वैसे तो आप model answer आपको इतने सारे coaching institute you already know, but what I want to highlight is कि it is not कि random क्या कहते हैं AI को बोल दिया please generate a model answer, है ना, and आपको दे दिया, ठीक है, that is not how it is, right? Help of AI, but on the top of that, how to improve upon that, right? So therefore, you will be getting very structured kind of an answer. I can discuss this also, like how are bilateral relations between India and Australia being shaped by the evolving geopolitical and economic dynamics in the Indo-Pacific, right? So therefore, you notice that is these answers. I'm not going to discuss it particularly, but what I'm trying to tell you is that this content, it can also help you, get some kind of like a fast revision kind of a material. That is, you revise only the underlined part, only the bolded part, and therefore you can directly add this particular answer into your notes, right? If you feel that relevance it is there, or you can extract a flowchart from this by only focusing on the underlined part and maybe add to your current notes, right? So therefore this kind of ऐसा highlights में like ultra summary of the answer will also be provided, ठीक है. तो इस तरीके से फाइट वाइट मार रहे हैं यार हम लोग आपके लिए, ठीक है ना, ऐसा डायग्राम वायग्राम दे देंगे, ठीक है ना. मतलब the thought process is that only. For example, this particular question, what are the key consequences of escalating conflicts in West Asia for India, right? So therefore Israel versus Hezbollah took place, Israel versus Hamas took place, now Israel versus Iran is taking place, right? Geopolitical situation changing very fast, right? So therefore, why the conflict, how of the conflict is relatively less important, but why of the conflict and impact of the conflict on India, on the world, on Israel, on Iran, on people of Palestine. These are the topics. So this question is from what is the impact of this on India. तो इस टाइप का बड़ा करंट अफेयर्स वाइज वेरी रेलिवेंट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. एंड यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम क्या आता है, अबंडेंस ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन. वो जो पहले वाला क्वेश्चन था इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया वाला, वहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम क्या होगा स्टूडेंट के सामने, लैक ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन. Not many students focus on Australia. ये question क्या है कि every one of you can come here on the stage and you can give a speech on who is right and who is wrong, right, on Iran, Israel, because it is over deliberated, right? So students के सामने two types of problems आती हैं. Some questions are there where no notes are made, right, and some questions are there where excess of notes are there. UPSC is not going to ask essay on that question. UPSC is going to ask 150. So there the problem is of summarization, right? So therefore this is why these two kind of sample model answers I'm trying to share with you, that this will be the benefit out of this thing, right? तो ये सब टाइप का चीज़ है. One-on-one mentorship, I told you. So therefore, after evaluation, students can opt for mentorship sessions with experts to clarify doubts, revisit weak areas, and refine strategies also. Right? Then we have this value addition material. So the idea is not to randomly load the student. So therefore, two examples I am sharing of value addition material. First, for example, पॉलिटी का तो खैर यूजुअली कॉमन है, गवर्नेंस का देखते हैं. Usually in the sense कि the material is very very good, but student is usually very very well aware about कि अच्छा ठीक है पॉलिटी में तो ये हुआ, तो गवर्नेंस गुड गवर्नेंस है जैसे, राइट. तो वी आर बीइंग वेरी वेरी ओपन विद द स्टूडेंट दैट व्हाट इज द होल लॉजिक. मतलब ये सब में ये बताया गया आपको कि बेसिकली आपको कन्विंस कर रहे हैं हम कि इसको पढ़ लो. ठीक है, इन द फर्स्ट 2 pages वी आर ट्राइंग टू कन्विंस यू दैट वी आर नॉट वेस्टिंग योर टाइम, राइट. वी आर ट्राइंग टू प्रूव टू यू दैट हाउ दिस कंटेंट इज जनरेटेड बाय एनालिसिस ऑफ द प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस. ठीक है, तो ये सब लॉट ऑफ इंग्लिश आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू रिपीट, बट द होल पॉइंट इज दैट ओनली. एंड in the initial phase, see, we are giving you all the questions, right? So topic wise previous year questions, right? So सारे के सारे topic wise previous year questions are there on governance, right? It covers governance in India, people's participation, Sevottam, citizen charter, social accountability, social audit, e-governance, RTI, transparency, accountability measures like Lokpal, whistleblower protection, etc. माने कि in the syllabus whichever are the keywords, and apart from that the keywords which we can generate by analysis of the previous year question and then collation of all the previous year questions of governance at one particular place, and accordingly in the light of these questions which are the topics which we should focus upon rather than everything. Let us focus, do we have a curated material which we should focus upon on the basis of the themes which have been asked in the previous year questions, right? So therefore इस तरीके से not just of governance but of every other subject such kind of value addition material will be there. A new book is not being provided. What is being provided is that on the basis of previous year questions curated content and accordingly weightage given to those content, right? So therefore ये सब जितने सारे questions हैं ये एक जगह student को मिल भी जाएंगे. Topics if I read out, second is role of civil services in a democracy, right? Marks के साथ how many, ठीक है, हमने मार्क्स, development processes and development industry, role of NGOs, self-help groups, that is civil society, then policies and intervention for development in various sectors and issues arising out of their design and implementation. माने कि this is the executive action part of this thing, right? Like electronic cash transfer system and all these things, right? Pressure groups, again civil society. ठीक है, तो अकॉर्डिंगली इस टाइप का एनालिसिस भी दिया जाएगा स्टूडेंट को, दैट एनालिसिस ऑफ गवर्नमेंट गवर्नेंस PYQs फॉर द पास्ट 10 years, मार्क्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन टेबल इफ वी सी फ्रॉम 2013 till 2024, right? So this is the theme. So see, important aspects of the governance, 29.27%, right? Developmental processes and development industry, that is role of NGOs, 29.67%. So clearly the student is able to see the top 2 are important aspects of governance, right? And second is development process, that is civil society role, right? And accordingly जो value addition material है वो इन पे ज़्यादा focus करेगा. थर्ड नंबर पे कौन सा आता है, थर्ड रैंक पे आता है आपका 20.73%, that is government policies, right? And least important पता चल जाता है pressure groups, right? 8.54% का pressure group. मतलब role of civil society में क्या, इसमें क्या जाएगा, role of NGO में positive role, pressure group का क्या role होता है, थोड़ा सा criticism of the state, right? Pressurize करना, they are not doing anything, मतलब they are just acting as a system of check, but they are not providing any goods and services on their own, right? तो उस पे कम फोकस है, इस पे ज़्यादा फोकस है, पॉजिटिव आउटलुक है यूपीएससी का, राइट? तो खैर इन द इनिशियल पार्ट यू सी दीज ऑल ऑफ दिस थिंग्स, मतलब ये सब एक एनालिसिस स्टूडेंट को मिलेगा अच्छे तरीके से, एंड दिस एनालिसिस कैन बी डिस्कस्ड ऑल्सो. टॉपिक वाइज तो ये प्रीफेस इज देयर, गवर्नेंस PYQ एनालिसिस, राइट? तो कितने पेजेस दिए हमने एनालिसिस को, वी आर गिविंग रफली 8 pages, right? And space भी बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं है, right? So therefore 8 pages of analysis of the PYQ will be available in each and every subject, right? So therefore student will be very much aware kind of a student, right? Then you have this curated portion from important aspect of governance, role of civil services, development process, government policy. मतलब जिस तरीके से PYQ पूछे गए हैं उन्हीं topics के फिर notes एक coherent form में, right? So therefore that is the thought process which is there. बता देगा. Schedule wise, this is going to be the schedule. Right, total 12 tests are there, 8 sectional and 4 full length. Right, so therefore the test begins on 22nd of June. It will be available on 22nd of June. आप बाद में भी दे सकते हैं. And last test is available when? Last test will be going forward till July 31, 2025. Right, so in a span of roughly 1 month, in a span of roughly 30 days, all the tests will be available to you. Right, whenever you feel like, whatever is the pace of your revision, accordingly you can give the test. Right, they will be available up till the mains, actual mains. Right, ऐसा. And accordingly we have tried to distribute. For example, आपने सारा history एक ही में नहीं रखा according to the weightage. जैसे इसमें क्या रखा हमने? Modern history, post independence India, जिसमें relatively less number of questions are asked, geography. Right, so therefore primary focus here is modern history and geography. ठीक है, because weightage of PII is relatively less. यहाँ पे सोसाइटी मेजर वेटेज, आर्ट एंड कल्चर मेजर वेटेज, ठीक है, वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री में दे आस्क रिलेटिवली लेस नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. ठीक है, तो अकॉर्डिंगली ऐसा ग्रुपिंग किया है. राइट, टू हैव अ बैलेंस. राइट, polity and Indian constitution, we just noticed that how huge number of questions are asked from that topic. So therefore majorly इसमें दो ही चीज रखा हमने. ठीक है ना. तो अकॉर्डिंगली इस तरीके से वी आर गोइंग टू कवर गवर्नेंस एंड सोशल जस्टिस, एक नेक्स्ट में कवर हो जाएगा. इकोनॉमी, एग्रीकल्चर नेक्स्ट में. तो अकॉर्डिंगली ऐसा बहुत स्ट्रक्चर टाइप का करके, एंड एथिक्स में फिर एक पूरा का पूरा एथिक्स पे फोकस है. राइट, बिकॉज 250 मार्क्स ऐसे आते हैं. एंड अगेन एथिक्स का जो एक एस्पेक्ट, केस स्टडीज वाला पार्ट तो दोनों के अंदर है, प्लस एथिक्स इन गवर्नेंस, इस तरीके से. एंड देन लास्ट में आपका रेगुलर GS 1 2 3 4 फुल लेंथ टेस्ट होगा 23rd, 26th, 29th, 31. Right, if you want to have a feel of like proper UPSC, then you can wait till July and 31st. सारे के सारे पेपर्स विल बी अवेलेबल टू यू. राइट, सो देयरफॉर द वे UPSC एग्जाम टेक्स प्लेस, उस तरीके का रियल टेस्ट एनवायरनमेंट में यू कैन गिव. राइट, मतलब उस तरीके से. एंड देन जो डिस्टेंस लर्निंग वाले होंगे उनको सारी चीज़ें सॉफ्ट कॉपीज में मिलेगा. बाकी जो ऑफलाइन वाले हैं वो तो सेंटर्स वगैरह पे भी आके दे सकते हैं, वो डिटेल्स आपको मिल जाएंगी. ठीक है ना. सो देयरफॉर बेसिकली दिस सेशन वाज मेजरली अबाउट व्हाट यू कॉल एज दिस PYQ काइंड ऑफ थिंग. एनी क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम योर साइड ऑन दिस थिंग और एनी अदर थिंग, आई एम अवेलेबल. राइट, note making for mains. So specific question with respect to notes making for mains. वो दे दो, माइक दे दो यार इनको.
So as every topper says that for mains we must prepare that 1 or 2 page note for every topic or micro theme. So for example, I have prepared this note. I have used means many information. So what should be the criteria, means how to if I don't use many words and all, I used to forget it later, or so suggest me like this. I have made for a topic AI. And
so student has given a sample intro. Right, apart from this a data table it is there. Right, that with respect to the financial figures, that is around what is the size of the economy of AI's market कितना है. Then what are the ethical concerns? Right, they have been highlighted. Right, what can be the concern with respect to job losses or impact on jobs, nature of jobs. Right, significance ऐसा तो ठीक है. इंडिया एंड AI में कुछ तो इस तरह का नोट्स बनाया है आपने. ठीक है. एंड देन यू हैव सेक्टर वाइज AI यूज, दैट इज वेरी नाइस. दैट इज वेयर योर USP इज. ठीक है. एग्जांपल एजुकेशन इम्पैक्ट, राइट, गवर्नेंस इम्पैक्ट. सो योर रियल USP इज दिस, द बैक पार्ट ऑफ द नोट्स. राइट, बैक पार्ट ऑफ दिस पेज. राइट, तो वहाँ पे आपके जो नोट्स हैं, दैट्स वेयर आई कैन सी यू एक्सेलिंग. राइट, otherwise your first wala part hai theek hai, that's okay, that provides like a journalist kind of a thing, but real value addition comes here, right? So therefore what impresses me is that you have done a sectoral analysis of impact of AI on education, on governance, on healthcare, on agriculture sector, right, and then security and border management, right? So therefore one aspect is what to make note of, and you have excelled there in this particular part.
How to make this notes means.
Coming to that. So the point is, two kind of subjects are there, static subjects and which are what you call as current affairs subjects, right? Static subjects, first you can divide them into your favorite subjects and subjects which are not your favorite subjects, right? There are certain compulsory favorite subjects, right? Because that is 750 marks, right? If they are not your favorite subjects, then there is problem, right? There is problem. This is compulsory favorite subjects, right? Now, in the compulsory favorite subjects, right, or any other additions to this, how you should make notes. अच्छा एक और criteria वो मैं भूल जाऊँगा. In the compulsory favorite subjects or any other subjects which you feel that you ace, so therefore UPSC preparation, please understand, it's like you have to be like Saurav Ganguly. That means if the ball is spin ball, or the ball is what you call as pitched offside, then you have to hit a 4 or a 6. Right, and those which are your not favorite subjects, there you just have to ensure that you do not get bowled, right? That is, if bouncer is there, then you just stay on the pitch, right? Accordingly, your effort has to be there, because if you get 48% marks, 49% marks, you are already rank 1, already rank 2, right? So basically, you have to hit 6s in your favorites, right? And you have to just be, if possible, be above average, right, in your not so favorite subjects, right? But obviously this information is not just available to you, this information is available to everyone, right? So therefore accordingly the effort, by being average in polity, you will not be able to ace, because everyone prepares polity, right? So because these things are very publicly known, right, that ethics it is for 250 marks, right, optional is, right? So therefore the level of effort there would have to be high with respect to making of notes also, right? And therefore here ideally what you should do is, let's say your original source, it is of 100 pages, right? What is the challenge the student faces? The challenge that student faces is that, sir, only 3 months are left, how to revise? And then the student faces the challenge, sir, only 3 weeks are left, how to revise, right? That is the issue. Therefore, in step number 1, you should convert these 100 pages with the help of flowcharts. That is, use of flowchart, use of tree structure, to minimize words, but without loss of any information. Can you train yourself to create such kind of notes where there is no loss of information, or most of the information is there, but still the number of pages they come down from 100 to 60? Can you generate some symbols for yourself, right? For example, can you make such kind of notes whereby you are replacing the lot of standard words but with your own very personal kind of notes? So for example, for this, for me, is equal to lead 2. Very small things, right? So let's say the event is what you call as industrial revolution, right? So therefore industrial revolution happened. What were the reasons for industrial revolution? What are the reasons for industrial revolution in Britain? What were the reasons for industrial revolution elsewhere, where it happened post 1870, right? So therefore, can you list out the reasons, right? You don't have to go for proper sentences, but whatever is the crux of that sentence, at least that should be available here, right? If you make your notes like this, I'll give you a sample question, right? Because my subject domain is world history, modern history, post-independence India. That's why I'm taking example of world history, right? So therefore, the question which UPSC has asked multiple times is that why industry, for example, why industrial revolution happened first in England? What was the impact of industrial revolution on that society, on British society, right? So therefore, that question came from where? That question came from this part, one question, and second question came from which part? Right, that is what was the impact on society, not of India but of the world. World के अंदर एक तो Britain आ जाएगा and then rest of Europe will come in, right? तो इस वाले part से question है. Therefore, now you notice, and this is ये well established है. UPSC ask the how of the question event very less. Majority of the questions in UPSC, they come either about the why of the event. That event can be a law, that event can be an event, right? That event can be a scheme, that event can be a phenomenon, why of the event and the impact of the event, right? But what UPSC does, UPSC creates a dish, right? That is not everything, some part from here, some part from here, and therefore you will be able to deliver only when at preparation time itself you were very structured in your notes. That's why notes, they should not be as far as possible paragraph form notes, right? Because as you will revise again and again, this structure will solidify in your mind also. You'll start talking like this. Okay, sir, industrial revolution happened, right? In your mind, this structure is going on. So primary reasons. So there were three kind of reasons, sir. Right? See, this is how you start becoming when you revise in this particular manner, right? So when you do structured revisions, you allow yourself कि UPSC ने बोला आज ये वाला डिश बनाओ, तो तुम वो वाला डिश बना के दे दोगे on the spot. But अगर तुमने सारी चीजें unorganized manner में and in form of a paragraph you had made your notes, then you will not be able to deliver on these kind of things, right? Another question by UPSC, that what was the impact of industrial revolution? Like, what were the key features of industrial revolution and what was the impact of industrial revolution on drain of wealth from India? Right? So again, you see, there they focused on this particular aspect. These are actual UPSC questions. I am not making them up. Right? How American Revolution and French Revolution laid foundation of the modern world. Right? That means impact on world, because there would be some ideological impact of the French Revolution, American Revolution, political impact of French Revolution, American Revolution, right? If the event here was French Revolution, American Revolution, right? So UPSC question ही ऐसे पूछता है. You understand the mind of the UPSC, right? So step number 1, you have to make such notes for your favorite subjects which are in this particular format, and they occupy, which you are on path, roughly you are on path, right? But these notes, they can be slightly more structured also, because your focus has become how to limit all of this in 2 pages, because topper said make 1 page note. So therefore you neglected the concept part, you neglected the clarity part. Your primary mission became 1 page में आ जाना चाहिए, है ना? That is what I can notice in the first page of your note. The structure I was able to see better in the second page of your note. That's why I praised the second page of your note. Right? क्यों? Because खाली आपने टॉपिक लिखा है फर्स्ट पेज में. In the second page of the note, where he is talking about what you call as the sectoral impact, I am able to clearly see that student has applied his mind and he has had what you call as 5 to 6 points in education with names of the programs like Diksha program, etc. Right? And similarly in other topics. That means application of brain was there, right? That data collation was there. Some analysis element it is there. But here in the first aspect, right, not many points are there. Heading भी उतना ही बड़ा है जितना उसके सामने point बड़ा है. Example, job loss, especially repetitive and routine task, self-checkout system. Example, self-checkout system. So therefore, see, at max you will be able to convert this point into 1 line. Until and unless behind this page, there is a 60-pager note. So therefore, step number 1, make 60-page note. 60-page note matlab original source is 100%, reduction of its size, but there is no loss of information. There is no loss of information, right? Some superficial information may be removed, but the key aspects of the information, they are there in the 60 pages. After that, put these 100 pages. Once this is done, then put 100 pages in the library. They are never to be opened again. They are never to be opened again. That means, let's say 3-4 months have passed. You have literally forgotten, right, that subject. Now you want to revise. When you want to revise, if you revise with this page now, nothing will come back here, right? Because like ये क्या होता है भाई, self checkout system. अभी तुम्हें पता है, but current affairs में तो क्या है ना, things are very very dynamic. You read a thing or a name only once. For example, here you mentioned personalized learning paths, Diksha. Right? Basically here what you should do is, I'll tell you another thing, that is the why, the how aspects of notes. Right? It's a एक कला है, एक amazing कला है, बहुत शानदार, मैं तो बहुत research करी इस पे. Student will face a dilemma that whether to add 3 more words, right, which will give the why element in my note, or to only mention, उसको मैं assume कर लूँ, and to only mention the heading. I realized with the multiple mistakes that short notes में अगर थोड़ा सा 3 more words can be added, but it addresses the why or the consequence part of that thing, right? Then those notes are amazing notes. माने कि in this particular note when you mention personalized learning path, Diksha, right? So in this personalized learning path कुछ मेरे को एक छोटा सा चाहे 5 words add करके मैं कुछ बता देता कि भैया इसका मतलब इसका consequence क्या है, right? या फिर इसका reason क्या है, right? मतलब या फिर दीक्षा का full form क्या है, right? तो थोड़ा better होता, right? या फिर जैसे intelligent tutoring system, apps like Byju's use AI, right? ठीक है, तो ये self explanatory है, कोई issue नहीं है. Automated assessment and feedback, ठीक है, they be self explanatory है. Attendance and monitoring systems, AI driven facial recognition. तो यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा मतलब एक थोड़ा हाउ आ जाता अगर कि मतलब facial recognition तो है ही, तो वो AI driven कैसे है, मतलब कुछ उसमें मतलब why नहीं पता चल रहा, ठीक है. Adaptive learning environment, right, education group, ठीक है, ये भी ठीक है. मतलब drug discovery, AI identifies potential molecules, ये अच्छा लिखा आपने, राइट. व्हेन यू रोट ड्रग डिस्कवरी तो आपने सिर्फ ड्रग डिस्कवरी भी नहीं लिखा, आपने उसको थोड़ा सा एलिबोरेट किया, ठीक है. एआई आइडेंटिफाइज पोटेंशियल मॉलिक्यूल्स, राइट. सो देयरफॉर दैट्स गुड, राइट. तो इस तरीके का चीज रिपीट होना चाहिए, मतलब वाई ऐड होना चाहिए, एक तो ये पॉइंट है. वंस यू कन्वर्ट दिस, वंस यू हैव दिस 60 पेजेस देन दिस गोज टू लाइब्रेरी, राइट. एंड वंस यू हैव फॉरगॉटन एवरीथिंग तो आपको इलैबोरेशन चाहिए. सो देयरफॉर दिस 60 पेजर नोट्स विल बिकम योर व्हाट यू कॉल एज गो टू थिंग, राइट. एंड बिकॉज नो लॉस ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन इज देयर यू विल सेव टाइम, right, when you revise this 60 pages. And once you have done revising these 60 pages, then in second step you go for converting this 60 pages into 15 pages. A 15 pager will look like this. A 15 pager will look like this. But because it is made from these pages, so therefore you will be very very aware that okay, out of 60% which information needs to be rejected, concept needs to be not rejected, maybe number of examples have to be reduced, or या फिर concept अगर automatically by the point of time you reach here ना, ध्यान से सुना, by the point of time you reach here what happens is many of the things they become automatically understood, right. मतलब ये लोग कि हाँ ये तो पता है ना मुझे. when you are making these notes ना, maybe you did not know what is constitutionalism, right, but because of multiple revisions you know what is constitutionalism. So while making these notes na, you will not write down the definition of constitutionalism. You like हाँ वो पता है मेरे को, right. Now let me see that okay, in which Supreme Court judgments constitutionalism concept was elaborated upon or expanded, right. You see, so that knowledge also leads to, because here you had to define certain things, here those things have become kind of like very natural to you, right. So therefore this will not have sentences like 360 degree approach, ये फालतू का वर्ड है, ठीक है ना, होलिस्टिक अप्रोच, ये सब नहीं है, ठीक है ना। तो ये सब चीजें हटा के काट छाट करके यहाँ पे 15 पेजेस में योर नॉलेज ऑल्सो हेल्प्स बिकॉज थिंग्स विच गेट फिक्स्ड हियर, फिजिकल डेफिसिट है, मे बी हेयर यू रोट व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ द वर्ड फिजिकल डेफिसिट, बट इतना बार रिवाइज कर चुके हो कि अब तुम्हें ऑटोमेटिकली पता ही होता क्या है फिजिकल डेफिसिट, ठीक है। तो ये जो 15 पेजर का नोट होगा ना, इसमें तुम फिजिकल डेफिसिट तुम दोबारा डिफाइन नहीं करोगे, ठीक है, फ्रॉम द मेन्स पर्सपेक्टिव, क्योंकि फ्रॉम प्रीलिम्स पर्सपेक्टिव ये पढ़ूंगा मैं, क्यों, प्रीलिम्स में तो पूछ लेते हैं, राइट, दे आस्क इन प्रीलिम्स which of the following will increase fiscal deficit and they'll give you 5 options, right, so this will here no loss of information, this is for mains very close उस तरीके से, and this can help you do some interconnections, right, ऐसा, and after this 15 pages I'll make a, if possible, maybe not always possible, but if possible, I'll make a very an interconnection note, right, because by the time I'm in my preparation at this particular level, right, that at that point of time I can basically think, right, because a lot of things are there already in my mind, so I can make some interconnections, right, interconnection between subjects, interconnection मतलब कि यार UPSC ने एक बार पूछा है what is the in prelims they have asked that what was common between Mahatma Gandhi and Karl Marx, prelims में they asked, so well they can ask it in mains also, because if UPSC can ask that what were the similarities and differences between Rabindranath Tagore and Mahatma Gandhi with respect to nationalism and education, तो ये भी तो पूछ सकते हैं ना, what was the difference between Karl Marx and Mahatma Gandhi with respect to their ideology, पूछ सकते हैं, क्या दिक्कत है। इस लेवल पे now my focus is going to be on such interconnection based notes where I'm not going to elaborate too much, right, but I'm going to have a chart that okay MG, right, and MG and Karl Marx, right, differences, right, at the rate, let's say polity, what was their view, at the rate the concept of freedom, what was their view with respect to economy, what kind of economy, right, तो ऐसा multiple systems with respect to state, what was their view, right, ऐसा, तो ऐसा बनाया एक छोटा छोटा, right, but this mind map, right, it is my own generated based on the previous year question, and therefore ऐसा, ये काम आपको करना होगा with respect to, so 3 stage, right, obviously this is time taking, that is why you cannot do it in all subjects, होगा भी नहीं in the all subjects, it will happen only in your favorite subjects, right, favorite subjects or compulsory favorite subjects, right, that will allow you to actually ace, right, beat the other competition, ठीक है ना। तो पहला टारगेट रखना है बिना लॉस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन के, बट फ्लो चार्ट फॉर्म पे, हाउ टू मेक नोट्स, 60 पेज नोट्स, ठीक, देन कन्वर्ट देम इनटू आफ्टर मल्टीपल रिवीजन, नॉट इमीडिएटली, नहीं 2-3 बार, और पैरेलली सम टेस्ट सीरीज इज गोइंग ऑन, मेंस आंसर राइटिंग इज गोइंग ऑन, एज यू आर बिकमिंग अ बेटर स्टूडेंट, ऑलवेज रिमेंबर व्हेन यू विल बिकम अ बेटर स्टूडेंट, moving from this to this will become much more easier because lot of information you will say हाँ ये तो बताइए यार, इसको लिखने की क्या जरूरत है, ठीक है, let me write something जो मुझे लगता है कि टफ है वो, right, and फिर बाद में ये, ठीक है, ये टोटल चॉइस बेस्ड हो सकता है, ठीक है, बट कम से कम इनमें होगा तो अच्छा होगा, ठीक है ना, स्पेशली पेपर 2 whereby application aspects of theory are there, and UPSC at times asks very unique kind of question depending on which particular option you are having, ठीक। Now what about the not favorite subjects? Not favorite subjects में focus on highlighting plus this is very important, पेन को हाथ भी नहीं लगना चाहिए पहली 2 रीडिंग में, जैसे स्कूल प्रिंसिपल ऐसे मारती थी ना नक्कल्स पे, ठीक है ना, वाई वी हाईलाइट द थिंग्स विच वी फील आर टफ, इन द फर्स्ट रीडिंग वी फील एवरीथिंग इज टफ, इट हैपन्स विद सो मेनी ऑफ यू, पूरी बुक रंग दी, मुझे रंग दे, है ना, होल बुक इज ऑरेंज, ग्रीन, येलो, हाँ, फूल जाती बेचारी वो, इतनी मोटी हो जाती हूँ, है ना? नहीं, तो फिर बाद में लगता है यार ये क्या क्या किया मैंने, है ना? इसलिए इन द फर्स्ट टाइम नेवर एवर डू हाईलाइटिंग, ठीक है? इट इज ओनली इन दी सेकेंड टाइम दैट यू शुड हाईलाइट, और इन द थर्ड रीडिंग दैट यू शुड हाईलाइट. Right, so your focus in your not so favorite subjects should be multiple readings. Maybe with multiple readings gradually you'll become comfortable with the subject and the subject will move from tough to manageable category. Right, why? Because multiple readings. Right, in such subject do not try to make notes after first reading itself, please. In fact first reading के बाद तो कभी भी notes बनाने ही नहीं चाहिए except for current affairs, because वहाँ पे आपके पास choice नहीं है, ठीक है? Because newspaper is a book which comes every day. Right, so there you cannot pile up the newspapers, right? ऐसा. So highlighting करना चाहिए in third reading. Second चीज़ आप क्या कर सकते हो with respect to not favorite subjects? This is your book, right? These are let's say first paragraph. This is let's say second paragraph. On the left hand side मैं आपको why how बता रहा हूँ. ये तो लोग सब बताएं लेफ्ट में थोड़ा सा एक स्ट्रक्चर बना लो, नहीं मैं आपको तरीका बता रहा हूँ वो स्ट्रक्चर बना कैसे लें. One way is try to think that can I convert these 3 lines into one heading. If these 3 lines had some heading, what that heading will be. Do this exercise and you will achieve wonderful results in, ये तो सब लोग बताते हैं that this is book page, on this side make some structure which will be summary of this. Problem student faces is कि वो तो सर आ गया समझ में, यहाँ क्या लिखूं? What should I write here? What should I write here? What should I write here? वो क्या आंसर है? वो आंसर है try to think that these first 3 lines, इसका जो soul है in 1 word or in 3 words, what is the soul of these 3 lines? मतलब इसका और बेस्ट उसका प्रैक्टिकल कि इसका हेडिंग मैं रखता तो क्या रखता? हेडिंग ऑफ 3 लाइन्स, हेडिंग ऑफ 3 लाइन्स, हेडिंग ऑफ 3 लाइन्स, राइट? इफ यू डू दैट तो उसे आइडिया आ जाता है, राइट? तो ऐसा लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में स्ट्रक्चर्स बनाओ, ठीक? सो इन द यू हैव योर हाईलाइटेड एस्पेक्ट्स and you have these structures, so therefore just by revising the structures you can do a quick revision later on, ठीक? और क्या करना है जी? Now comes awesomeness. Awesomeness is here you make flowchart based notes, not of your book but of the test series questions and the previous year questions. That is apart from writing the previous year question or the test series question in proper paragraph format for the test series person, please spend 10 minutes extra per question, but doing that is very tough because we are can't kare yaar abhi. Spend 10 minutes extra and try to generate this flowchart based answer, right, of that question, right? That okay, this is the model answer, this is my answer was not perfect, I'm reading the model answer, I have understood the topic, mini topic now, so therefore okay, let me convert this answer into a flowchart, right? Flowchart based answer. That flowchart is going to be your short note. It will be advanced short note. Matlab, in the question which came in relation to, let's say, industrial revolution, right? You don't have the full, but you had at least this much, that okay, what was the impact of industrial revolution on India in heading, subheadings format. Obviously, you are converting just 250 words, or let's say इसमें तो 2 questions है ना, in one question there were 2 questions, so let's say 250 words है, तो you are roughly converting 125 words into a flowchart. But you have all the relevant headings and subheadings in the form of a summary which has all the keywords. Right? So basically there, the subjects which are not your favorite subjects, there you do not go for what you call as making notes of what you call as the topics, but there you go for notes of what you call as the questions. मतलब क्वेश्चन का जो आंसर है उसको पैराग्राफ फॉर्म में नहीं लिखना है, उसको एक फ्लो चार्ट के फॉर्म में, मतलब इसका एक फ्लो चार्ट होता, रिप्रेजेंटेटिव फ्लो चार्ट, तो वो क्या होता, कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं करना है और वहां पे भी समराइजेशन पे एक फोकस रहना है, ठीक है ना? तो अब अगर आपने 100 क्वेश्चन करे हैं, if you have written 100 questions, if you have written 200 questions, तो 200 pager note बन गए ना? And these are advanced level notes because these questions are like in context of event A, event B happened which resulted in C. So therefore very advanced level notes are these, right? तो अब पर ये कि हम मेरे notes हैं यार, है ना, इतना मेरे अंदर गूदा नहीं था that I could make notes of art and culture, but see 100 questions of art and culture or 50 questions of art and culture, they simplified notes I have, right? So therefore I feel this sense of confidence and उससे मैं quick revision कर लूँगा in the last 3 months or in the last 1 month, ठीक ऐसा. तो जो टॉपर आपको बताया ना, टॉपर आपको सिर्फ इतना बताया कि आई यूज्ड टू हैव 1 पेजर, तो स्टूडेंट क्या करता है, ये भूल जाता है क्योंकि दैट 1 पेजर डज नॉट मेक एनी सेंस. अपने आप से ऑनेस्ट रहो, क्या मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ मैंने क्या लिखा है, बना तो लिया मैंने 1 पेजर, राइट, बट हाँ मतलब इट इज इट लाइक रोट लर्निंग और इट इज लाइक यू नो यू हैव अ फील ऑफ इट. ओके, सो नॉट फेवरेट, दैट इज फॉर स्टैटिक सब्जेक्ट्स, दैट इज फॉर स्टैटिक सब्जेक्ट्स, राइट. विद रिस्पेक्ट टू व्हाट यू कॉल एज, there is another category, what you call as organized and unorganized. Never make these kind of notes for a subject like polity, because the subject of polity in itself is very very organized kind of subject. Therefore if you will make its short notes topic short note, topic short note, it will be like you are simply doing copy pasting. You are removing AEIOU, you are removing what space, otherwise there is no use. For subjects which are make notes only for those subjects which where source is unorganized, that is in the form of paragraph, jumbled, right, ऐसा एक story form में है, right, but where it is very organized, like Constitution of India is very organized, right, law is very very organized, right, उसके short notes ऐसे मत बनाओ आप, ठीक है ना. उसकी short notes अगर बनाएं तो थोड़े thinking short notes बनाओ. जैसे in polity, as I tell in my class also, make short notes what Constitution does for women. That means you are making this kind of a short note, right? Okay, which fundamental rights will help women, which legal rights will help women, which DPSPs are oriented towards women, right? वो उसमें लगेगा that okay your preparation is having some value addition, right? ऐसे बनाए मैंने notes polity वाले, बाद में थक गया, मैंने कहा यार मैं तो पूरा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ही लिख दिया वापस से, व्हाट इज द यूज, मतलब एंड याद हो नहीं रहा, आई एम नॉट एबल टू स्टिल मेमोराइज इट. क्यों बाद में रियलाइज हुआ कि एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइंड तो था ही नहीं. इट वाज माय प्राइमरी फोकस हैड बिकम हाउ टू मिनिमाइज स्पेस, राइट, दैट बिकेम द ओनली फोकस. एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइंड वाज जीरो. ओके, सो देयर दोस कंटेंट विच इज वेरी वेरी organized, उसके लिए you try to make either question based short notes or interconnection based short notes, then you will feel some kind of like you know benefit, right, तब benefit उसका होगा, ठीक है. Usually we think, मैं एक और last example देता हूँ, usually we think which articles give which rights. Turn it upside down, which rights are given by which articles. Become laymanish in step number 1. उल्टा कर दो. अभी तक तो हम ऐसे पढ़ते हैं आर्टिकल 19 says this, नहीं ऐसे पूछो कि फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच एंड एक्सप्रेशन या फिर फ्रीडम टू एक्सप्रेस वन सेल्फ, वो संविधान में कैसे है, क्या पता आपको बाद में पता चले दैट आर्टिकल 19 इज ओनली वन बट सम अदर आर्टिकल वाज आल्सो देयर. ऐसे पूछो हाउ राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी इज गिवन बाय कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, राइट. फिर देखो, फिर तुम्हारा दिमाग खुलेगा कि अरे बाप रे, some people they have extra right to property. Example, in 5th schedule, governor may make rules to restrict or prohibit transfer of property of tribals to others. अच्छा, मतलब एक सब कैटेगरी है. Property rights, right? Property can be movable property, immovable property. One kind of property is educational institution also. Let's say कोई एक school university बना हुआ है ना, कि अच्छा तो minorities, right, they have right to establish their minority institutions and that is protected. माने वो फिर जमीन भी protected होगी, वो यूनिवर्सिटी भी कहीं ना कहीं protected होगी, तो indirectly तो वो भी एक मतलब एक apparatus तो create हो रहा है ना, right? और legal right to property तो है ही, right? But saving of laws, right, that is you know you can save a law from in public interest with respect to a law which takes over estates. I think article 31A है, कौन सा आर्टिकल है कि अच्छा दिस इज हाउ राइट टू प्रॉपर्टीज कैन बी इन्फ्रिंजिबल ऑल्सो, राइट. तो यार मस्त है यार, अब समझ. तो बेसिकली ऐसा करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है ना. तो पॉलिटी में नोट्स वैसे मत बनाना, वो तो कोई फायदा नहीं है, वो तो ठीक है, मतलब वो ठीक है आपके बन जाएंगे फॉर क्विक रिवीजन, दैट्स ऑल. बट यूपीएससी डज नॉट आस्क क्वेश्चन लाइक दिस, प्लीज टेल अस अबाउट आर्टिकल 19. ठीक है ना, यूपीएससी आस्क सम इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन. एंड अगर जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, इफ यू मेक नोट्स लाइक दैट ना, उसमें एडिंग सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इजी. Because Supreme Court judgment comes on these issues only, right to property pay or something pay. So therefore, this kind of think that which rights are given to the environment by the Constitution. So maybe some rights plus some DPSP will come. Article 48A talks about conservation of wildlife and forest, right? So therefore, your mind will open. Which rights are given to the tribal? ऐसा रिवर्स मारो, रिवर्स, ठीक है ना. ऑर्गेनाइज सब्जेक्ट्स में, इन अनऑर्गेनाइज सब्जेक्ट्स वो तो मैंने आपको बताया है. देयर चैलेंज इज वेरी वेरी सिंपल एक्चुअली, राइट. ऐसा ऑनलाइन और ऑफलाइन, दोज नोट्स विच आर कन्वर्ट ऑल द नोट्स इनटू ऑनलाइन, मीनिंग even where you have making this, please take their scans and please upload them, because ultimately when it comes to close the when you're near the exam, you do not want to get up from your chair much, right? Plus some information is in class handout, some information is there in class dictation, some information is there in this book which I had highlighted. मतलब right to property related information 10 जगह फैला हुआ है. Plus some information is there in my current affairs regarding right to property because the Supreme Court judgment came. Biggest problem will be you will not be able to revise this collectively. That becomes the biggest problem. But online अगर आपके पास notes हैं, right, so therefore that becomes relatively easy. पेज को कॉपी किया, कट किया, दूसरी एक सिंगल पीडीएफ फाइल बना ली, राइट, बड़ा सही रहता है, ठीक है. एंड करंट अफेयर्स का तो ऑब्वियसली इट हैज़ टू बी एज फार एज पॉसिबल ऑनलाइन नोट्स, चाहे मे बी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ टाइपिंग, राइट, बिकॉज कंट्रोल एफ की वैल्यू तुम क्या जानो. नाम क्या तुम्हारा? पार्थ बाबू. मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, ट्रस्ट मी, कंट्रोल एफ. दैट इज द बिगेस्ट help in revision, faster revision, control F. And with OCR and with typed notes, control F बहुत help करता है. Try to use softwares like Evernote or try to use software, you know, जैसे वो OneNote का भी सॉफ्टवेयर है, ठीक है ना, तो उसमें बहुत सही हेल्प करता है, ठीक है ना. करंट अफेयर्स में, ठीक है, जो नोट्स हैं तो उसमें बेसिकली यू कैन डिसाइड कॉम्बिनेशन. बेसिकली आई विल टेल यू कि मतलब मैंने तो कोई कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट का मैगजीन पढ़ा नहीं था, बट एवरी स्टूडेंट इज डिफरेंट. उस टाइम पे उतनी अच्छी मैगजीन होती भी नहीं थी. हेयर यू कैन गो फॉर मंथली मैगजीन, बट वाइल डूइंग मंथली मैगजीन ट्राई टू आस्क सम क्वेश्चंस, दैट इज एंड फाइंड आंसर टू दोज क्वेश्चंस. मंथली मैगजीन पढ़ रहे हो, कोई वर्ड का मीनिंग भी समझ में नहीं आया, राइट, लुक फॉर इट, एड इट, राइट. सम क्वेश्चन पॉप्स अप इन द माइंड, राइट, लेट्स से सम इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी न्यूज इज देयर, right, माइंड में क्वेश्चन आ रहा है, यार राइपेरियन रिवर्स आर देयर, लोअर राइपेरियन, अपर राइपेरियन, दे आर इन, यू नो, इन अदर पार्ट्स ऑल्सो. सो इज देयर नॉट एनी ट्रीटी बिटवीन इंडिया एंड बांग्लादेश विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रिवर शेयरिंग? बट वो मेंशन नहीं है मंथली मैगजीन. मंथली मैगजीन वॉज अबाउट इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान ओनली. सर्च इट, ट्राई टू एक्सट्रैक्ट अ समरी इंफॉर्मेशन, एड इट देयर, then that monthly magazine will become your magazine and it will stop being Vision IAS magazine. ठीक है, इफ यू डू मंथली मैगजीन्स लाइक दिस, तब फिर आपको कहते हैं यू वुड नॉट बी रिक्वायर्ड टू व्हाट यू कॉल एज, फिर मतलब लोड नहीं है, मतलब देन इट इज योर मंथली मैगजीन. तो दैट इज अबाउट नोट्स, ठीक है ना. एनी वन लास्ट क्वेश्चन? यस, बहुत ज़्यादा ज्ञान दे देता हूँ मैम, बोर तो नहीं हुए? बोर नहीं होना चाहिए स्टूडेंट, वो सबसे बड़ी तौहीन है.
Sir,
कि आप कुछ बोल रहे हो, सामने स्टूडेंट है.
sir, I have two questions. One is regarding like current affairs. If we start reading newspaper, like questions they will ask related to topics, no sir. So if we are like beginner for reading newspaper, like notes, how do we go? So this is first question. And second is regarding mains notes only, sir. Like suppose there is this topic, sir, in polity syllabus ki.
One by one चलते हैं, one by one.
Okay.
My first question you repeat please.
Sir, regarding current affairs, that if we start reading newspaper and we are beginner to it and subjects are completed, so should we make notes of it? Like questions are they are asking, like directly they are not asking questions with current affairs, they are linking, no sir. So how should we approach that, sir, in the beginning?
With respect to, there comes aid of monthly magazines, right? So because Vision IAS or any other coaching institute which you are following, because they have huge amount of expertise, right, because their job is this only, that is to do past trend analysis. So therefore accordingly when they are curating or they are creating the monthly magazine, they will be giving more focus on those areas which are either in the form of PYQs or from a general sense of understanding of UPSC, which are more important, right? So therefore, that burden that we should make notes of which topic and we should not make notes of which topic, that burden in the initial phase till the point of time you feel a sense of mastery, that burden you can put on the coaching institute, right? And therefore, try to focus on understanding. And once you are in the preparation for, let's say, a period of 5 or 6 months, right, then gradually you start getting a hang of things. In fact, you can become such a student also which says that, array, this very good editorial came, right, but you personally feel that this information should be added, so therefore you add that information to the monthly magazine. So reading wise, newspaper wise, definitely read the editorials, because that will gradually lead to your sense of essay also, because each editorial is kind of like an essay, right? Plus, you'll gradually become comfortable with the kind of official English which is used in the essay, right? And with respect to its notes, you don't have to worry, because the coaching institute is preparing the monthly magazines, right? Whenever you feel a sense of comfort and control, then maybe you can decide, I'll make my own notes. With respect to editorials, I want to have at least my editorial notes, right? तो ऐसा. And for any beginner, ये सब information हमारे पास नहीं थी ना. For any beginner, for example, what I would do if I would begin my preparation today, I'll pick up mains 365 of the previous year, right? Which basically summarizes the whole year's current affairs, right? And I'll try to go for like Vision IAS, because there the language is not very, very tough. Or maybe I can use AI to further simplify the language if my source is slightly more complex. And therefore, once you have read one whole year, and you will realize that 70% of the issues, they are repeated. If I'll start preparing UPSC today, I think I would require 8 months or 6 months. I've left the UPSC preparation long time back, but 8 months, 6 months, that's enough. I think I'll give you a good competition. Because 70% of the things, they're same. Right? I see the questions, I'm like, okay. Right? So actually UPSC is 70% concept. So when you'll do that previous year's mains 365, why I'm not saying PT? Because in mains, focus is on analysis. Focus is on concept. So as a student, you will benefit much more if you do previous year's mains 365 with respect to getting a grip. So that would be my recommendation to you. Second question.
Sir, suppose this polity subject is there, sir. In that there is a main syllabus key point that functions and responsibilities of union and states, and what are the challenges?
United Nations or United States?
Union and states, sir.
Union and states. Okay.
Functions and responsibilities of unions and states, issues and challenges pertaining to this particular federal structure in India. This is a syllabus key point, sir. Now, related to this, in Lakshmikant, we have a chapter for federalism and then center-state relations, sir. So, in that, like now, previous year questions, till now, they have been asked around 8 to 9 previous year questions, sir. In that, from that Lakshmikant, like how it is unitary bias, that one question we can answer, sir. And after reading center-state relations, we can know, okay, what are the challenges there, the tensions after 1967 when regional parties grown, that, and we can address that one, sir. Now, other topics like the cooperative federalism, how will it be a solution to that? And like recently 101, they linked it to 101 constitutional amendment, where about physical federalism, they asked how is it opening new trends, like GST topic, they opened concurrent jurisdiction for tax also. Then they linked it to the interstate water disputes, sir, and about NCT, National Delhi, what's the tussle between the Lieutenant Governor, and so these kind of things are there, sir. Suppose I am making notes for main specific for polity, sir, let's say for federalism topic. So after reading Lakshmikant, the top 2 basic question I am able to do it, sir. Now what about these other questions, like will more number of states better govern, and these kind of previous year questions, should I start searching in Google and make content, or else if I try on my own, like from Lakshmikant, I don't get content. So how to approach, sir, like while making notes?
So first of all, soon you will realize that you are better than Lakshmikant. Okay? You will understand that Lakshmikant बेवकूफ बनाता है. बेवकूफ, you understand? मतलब stupid. You are better than Lakshmikant, right? And you can beat Lakshmikant, and you will definitely beat Lakshmikant. The whole thought process is that first of all, in polity, the primary thing becomes, for example, the bare act, right? And it's not about rote learning. I'm asking you to be very simple, right? What was the topic? Topic was in UPSC syllabus. Topic is given the functions and the responsibilities of union and states. You don't need to read Lakshmikant. You need to have a sense of constitution. The job which is given to the center and the states, it is given in the 7th schedule, right? Whereby the work or the responsibility or the power, it's the same thing, right? Responsibility to do something is also power to do that thing. It's okay, right? So that is divided between center, between states, and something which is concurrent, right? So therefore, that is what the structure of federalism it is. We have unitary bias. That means 60% subjects must be there, or more powerful subjects must be there with the center, and 40% subjects, they must be with the provinces. But a very laymanish kind of a thing, right? And then second aspect is, for example, some other responsibilities. Well, DPSPs are also a responsibility, moral responsibility at least, if not legally binding. At least they are a moral guidance to the state, and state includes the union, state, central government also, and it includes the provincial governments also, right? So DPSPs are also responsibility, right? Under the responsibility, it is, for example, ensuring that fundamental rights of the citizens, right, they are there, right? And then certain rights they are given to fixed, like a broad sense should be there. Once you have broad sense, then another commonsensical principle that comes into operation is that, for example, this I teach my students, power is equal to economic power plus political power. What do you mean by political power? Become very basic. Political power means decision-making power. And therefore, there can be politics in a factory also. Decision of what to produce, when to produce, how to produce, how much to produce. That is the political power, right? Example, Karl Marx wanted not just economic power to the worker, but also political power. That these decisions they should also be there, right? So fine, political power, that is decision making power, economic power, that is money power, right? Then social power, intellectual power, which includes technical also, right? So these are the powers which are there, right? What is federalism? Anything which makes the provinces more powerful is called federal, and anything which makes the center more powerful, that is called unitary, right? So while you are reading if you have this basic understanding, right? So while you are revising the Weir Act, you have that eye for, example, very unique. You can beat Lakshmikant. Is this not pro-federalism? PCS, you understand?
Public, sir. No, sir.
State PCS.
State PCS, sir.
Our plan B. PCS, look at the name itself, become observant, right? State PCS, right? They are the state public civil services. That means those people who are recruited through this, they are throughout their career, they are going to be under the control of the chief minister, right? And having that personnel power, right? Imagine that if all the services were central civil services, don't you feel that federalism it is hurt and unity structure is strong then?
Yes, sir.
Right? Because personnel on the ground, that is what the state is, face of the state is personnel. Right? So beat Lakshmikant, existence of state PCS itself is also a federal feature. Right? ऐसा beat Lakshmikant कैसा बड़ा मस्त है. Very interesting. Center has no power in state list of subjects, right? But states have power in central list of subjects. How? Existence of Rajya Sabha. You start feeling for the center, man. Come on. In any law which is made on the central list of subject, right, the states automatically have a voice because there is a Rajya Sabha. So existence of Rajya Sabha. Now do you understand how it is a federal feature? Right. So states, they have 50% say in central list of subjects, 100% say in state list of subjects. Oi. What is Lakshmikant? What is Lakshmikant? In front of your logical mind. Right? But for that, you have to get away from the jargon, try to understand in very simple words the spirit of things, right? And therefore, you will be very easily able to like go beyond. Because then you start thinking logically. For example, if there are more and more, by the way, that topic is of post-independence India, but if you are going to have more and more number of subjects, then every state's budget will be less, right? And if you notice, connect industrialization, it is interconnection. In world history, you study about industrial revolution, that industrial revolution resulted in urbanization, right? That means there is one factory and cities, right? So GDP is actually city-based GDP in industrialized economy, whereas decentralized production is taking place when in non-industrialized economy. So imagine that if you convert every district into a state, right? So therefore, let's say Hyderabad city becomes a full state, it will become an island of prosperity, whereas nearby districts, they'll be island of poverty, right? And when you are poor, you may have decision-making power, but do you have actually the power to implement that decision? No, no. If you do not have money in your pocket, you have the decision you have decision-making power to go to London today. But if you don't have money, can you go to London today? Right? So therefore, it does not matter how many, it is only one part that how many subjects are in the state list of subjects. It is another part that whether the state governments, they have enough money to implement those projects. Right? And therefore, in this particular sense, whether GST is pro-federalism or anti-federalism, right? So very small number of subjects will definitely not be good for federalism, because every state, apart from city states like Hyderabad, Pune, Bombay, Delhi, right? Except for city states, everyone will have katora in their hands. And once you are dependent on the center, then can you, right? So therefore, application, this interconnection, that is like fourth part actually, which I told you, your favorite subject, right? That is once you become you start becoming mature in your preparation and you start moving beyond the language, right, which hides the concept, right? So therefore, once you are able to move beyond the language, then you start thinking like this, that let me think, man, which are all federal features. Let me think which are all unitary feature, right? Like, is the residual power with the center, is that the only unitary feature? No, prior sanction of president required for certain kind of bills, post sanction required, right? Office of governor in itself. Article 3 and 4, the first articles, right? That is, you do not even require a proper constitutional amendment to change the area of the state, right? This kind of scenario, right? Existence of what you call as, central civil services, right? That is also unitary feature.
All India.
All India services also, that recruited by union, but placed under that kind of thing. So a lot of things they can be there. And then you move on towards when you enter into this domain, then at second level, you will come across those dilemmas, that whether GST is pro-federalism or it is anti-federalism, whether more number of small states is pro-federalism or anti-federalism, and then you'll start applying logic. Power is, economic power also, right? So therefore, that kind of problem, will come in, right? So plus you study these topics in some of the areas, but that is how it is. So your primary focus should be, try to go beyond the language, and trust me, you will be able to, beat Lakshmikant.
Okay, sir.
You'll be able to beat Lakshmikant.
Yes, thank you, sir.
एक और फीचर है, land is a state level subject, okay, but many of the times the decisions of FDI are taken by the center, right? That whether to allow foreign direct investment or not, and when you allow foreign direct investment, right, so therefore automatically there is pressure, right, on that particular state to do land acquisition, right? So but the decision that FDI will be allowed from that country, right, so pressure has been created by center, right? There is incentive for you also, right, as a state, but see, this was not 100% your decision that you have to acquire land for some foreign company, right? So fine, but it overall in larger national interest, but power is kind of like shared, right? So you can start thinking like this, and that will be like kind of awesome. So central paramilitary forces, defense, communication, foreign affairs. So defense is fine with the center, right? Police, it is with this thing. ठीक है ना? So therefore, for example, CISF, CRPF, these operate inside the borders of India, right? So their existence is also unitary feature or not? Arey, what Lakshmikant? What Lakshmikant? Beat Lakshmikant, and you will beat Lakshmikant. Because if you have done so much amount of brainstorming, that means you are a fighter person, and fighter person just bring logic, and success will not be very far away, right? So therefore 6:30, 1.5 hour, enough of I think. So basically try to join, try to see that if this test series helps you out, right? So therefore the thought process actually था नहीं, in our time तो कुछ भी नहीं था, तो मतलब I was always wondering कि PYQ based test series होना चाहिए, proper formula etc. So fine, the Vision has brought this. So therefore it is not just test series कि you are getting marks, other things are also there, right? And these kind of doubts, they will also be handled by the faculty also, and by the what you call as one-to-one mentoring session also. तो ठीक है, God bless you, take care, bye bye.
The UPSC exam doesn't defeat you with difficulty. It defeats you with confusion, lack of clarity, lack of direction, and preparation that feels scattered. At Vision IAS Delhi, we rebuild your UPSC journey with structure, strategy, and support that doesn't waver. Get complete coverage of GSC, SAT, and essays step by step. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs stop feeling like chaos. Personal mentorship, not just advice, but actual strategy guidance. Test feedback loops, because growth begins where guesswork ends. Toppers didn't just prepare, they built the right foundation. Now it's your turn. This isn't just a course, it's where clarity, consistency, and confidence begin. The UPSC exam doesn't defeat you with difficulty. It defeats you with confusion, lack of clarity, lack of direction, and preparation that feels scattered. At Vision IAS Delhi, we rebuild your UPSC journey with structure, strategy, and support that doesn't waver. Get complete coverage of GSC, SAT, and essays step by step. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs stop feeling like chaos. Personal mentorship, not just advice, but actual strategy guidance. Test feedback loops, because growth begins where guesswork ends. Toppers didn't just prepare, they built the right foundation. Now it's your turn. This isn't just a course, it's where clarity, consistency, and confidence begin. The UPSC exam doesn't defeat you with difficulty. It defeats you with confusion, lack of clarity, lack of direction, and preparation that feels scattered. At